markets, weather, AFB farm broadcaster Jared White, and much, much more. All at IllinoisFarmRadio.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in this segment of the program this morning is Rebekka Delaney. She is with the National Weather Service in Lincoln. Rebekka, welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for making time for us. Good to have you on the program, and we appreciate, like I said, making time for us. And Rebekka, let's just kind of talk a little bit about the week that was in Central Illinois. Looking back at last week, it was a pretty dreary week. We saw some, I don't think we saw significant rain, at least roll through Central Illinois. Just was kind of drizzly, sprinkly. There were a few times the rain picked up a little bit, but never really like thunderstorms or anything. What did we see last week in terms of that rainfall? What did it do for us?
Last week, we saw not even a quarter of an inch of rain fall during those dreary days, but we did see plenty of cloud cover and breezy conditions. It looks like, though, it didn't help the drought a whole lot, but we're expecting the drought to continue to ease.
Because it's supposed to rain a little bit this week, from what I understand, correct?
Yes, this weekend, right now, our storm total amounts that we're looking at are above 2 inches in some spots.
Oh, wow. Interesting stuff. Now, last week, Rebekka, let's revisit temperatures. What were temperatures like during that rainy stretch there?
The temperatures were primarily in the 60s. We started the week out in the mid-60s. It dropped down to the 50s for just a couple days. It was cold and rainy, and then it warmed back up into the 70s for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Was a beautiful weekend, no question about it, for sure. A little breezy at times over the weekend as well. I was a little surprised by that.
Yes, and those freezing conditions aren't going to go away anytime soon. This week's supposed to be pretty windy.
All right, so we'll keep that in mind for sure. You mentioned temperatures last week. Was it? How would we compare last week's temperatures for the seasonal averages?
So last week's temperatures were about on par. Our average temperature for the month of October is in the mid to upper 60s.
Yeah, so very pleasant this time of year.
Yes, we can sometimes drop down to the 60s and still be around normal. So it feels quite nice.
No doubt, no doubt. And speaking of, I was looking in preparation for our time together today, Rebekka, was this week is going to be rather pleasant for temperatures. Maybe a little rain, like you said, towards the end of the week, but boy, we're not going to be able to complain about the temperatures. It is going to be almost ideal. How about what we're looking at for the week ahead here?
This week, for Central Illinois, we're looking at the mid 70s to low 70s for our highs until this weekend.
When it comes to, again, those averages for the last part of October, is it going to be pretty well above average?
Yes. So we are, at least for this week, we're going to be above average. But for the rest of this month, it looks like the entire month is going to average out to be below average, possibly.
Oh, no kidding. That's interesting. Now, what is going on that we're seeing above average temperatures this week? I mean, it's going to be unseasonably warm, it sounds like. So what's happening with the weather right now?
So right now we are in a high pressure regime. So that means we've got calm, beautiful weather, and the air is not going to be moving out of the area, bringing cold air until this weekend when we have that cold front coming from the Canada area.
So what is going to bring the rain in with it then?
That cold front that is expected to move through this weekend is going to bring the rainy conditions and then temperatures dropping down into the 50s for highs.
Very good. So going to be not too bad in the overnights either.
No, actually our overnights this week, the temperatures are going to be in the upper 50s to low 60s.
Mm-hmm. So a nice week ahead here for sure. Any idea, Rebekka, how much rain we can anticipate this week?
Right now, our storm total amount is, but some areas can get over 2 inches. But that's all we've determined right now for the weekend.
Yeah. Now, what's the time frame for these rain showers creeping into the area? When can we expect them to arrive? Will they be kind of come and go? What will that look like here this week?
So this week we've got some rain showers coming in, possibly on Tuesday night into Wednesday, and then we'll get about a day break, a day or two break, and then on Saturday the showers are coming back in with that big cold front coming through, and we can start seeing that overnight Friday.
Gotcha. Now, how widespread will this rain be?
It looks like to cover the entirety of Central Illinois.
Okay. Well, I know we got some high school football coming up Saturday, so folks are probably interested to know, if it's going to stretch, far south, far north, based on where they travel. So most of Central Illinois, it sounds like then.
Yeah, the cold front is extending from Michigan all the way down to Oklahoma. So it's going to be pretty widespread.
Sure. Rebekka, anything on the weather of the week ahead here? We've talked temperatures, we've talked rainfall. Anything else of note that we should know about this morning?
Other than it's going to be a breezy week, that's about all I've got for the forecast.
Where will those winds be coming from?
They will be coming from the south this week. So it's going to be a warm wind bringing those warmer temperatures.
I love it. Good to hear. Rebekka Delaney, National Weather Service in Lincoln, is our guest on the phone here for this morning. Rebekka, it looks like, though, these unseasonably warm temperatures are not going to stick around. I was checking out the long-term forecast, trying to get a handle on what it's going to be like for that Halloween night. And it's going to get chilly after this week. What are we in store for as we get into the final weekend and the final days of October?
So starting this weekend, we're going to be dropping down into the 50s for highs thanks to that cold front moving through, with lows potentially getting below freezing in some spots. And then for Halloween, this is the big forecast. It looks like we're going to be in near the 50s for the afternoon, and then it's going to get possibly below 32 that night.
Very good. So going to be a cold Halloween. What are we looking at as we start November then?
We're going to continue to see some below average temperatures. The Climate Prediction Center shows us having a good chance of below normal temperatures in the next 8 to 14 days.
Interesting. So going to be chilly. Get those, maybe break out those jackets, even the coats. It sounds like at times gonna get that cold. So be prepared for that. What is the outlook for November telling us right now, Rebekka? What's November looking like?
Our outlook for November, it looks like the month of November will have equal chances of being normal temperatures, with the above possibility just to the south of Central Illinois. But for precip, we have equal chances of being normal, and that is exciting news for our drought.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into the drought here in a little bit. What is kind of the 8 to 14 day outlook telling us right now, Rebekka? We mentioned we go from, unseasonably warm this week to cool next week. How about just the first couple of weeks of November, getting into like maybe that 10th or 11th time frame there?
It looks like up until November, from November 4th to November 17th, it looks like we could possibly see some above normal temperatures. So after this cold front moves through, we could see another warm up potentially, but have normal precipitation amounts.
Now, what are normal temperatures for the start of November?
Yes, so the normal temperatures for the start of November is about 60.
So still pleasant then.
Yes.
Yeah. How about lows?
Lows are, let's see here, about mid 30s.
Okay. Yeah. So nice, kind of pleasant days and cooler nights. Very good. So what about towards the end of the month of November, Rebekka? What are, maybe 18 to 30, the 18th through the 30th, and, maybe even, I know it's a little ahead of a time and maybe things change, but what are we looking at for a possible Thanksgiving weather forecast?
That is looking to be about the same, about near normal for both temperature and precip.
Now, when we get to the end of November, let's say that last week, the last days of November, how far do we drop on that daily temperature average?
I am not sure off the top of my head. I would have to click for that.
That's all right. That's all right. Very good. So we'll look forward to those things as November looking. And you mentioned the above normal signal for precipitation and that easing the drought. What is the average rainfall total for November? Like, do we typically see a pretty wet month?
Typically we see. I've got it right here. I apologize about that. It looks like normally November we see about 2 inches of rain.
Mm-hmm. So if we're above that, that will go a long ways. You mentioned that drought, Rebekka. Do you have that data by chance, where we stand with the droughts and, how much we could see an easement of that in November if we do end up with those above average rains?
So right now our drought compared to last week, we have improved. We have dropped some of our moderate drought, and we're back down to abnormally dry or even none. Some areas of central Illinois have no drought right now.
That's interesting. Can you kind of pinpoint where those areas are at?
There's a little corridor of no drought from about Christian County all the way up to McLean County.
Okay, nice. So that 55 area, then Interstate 55 area a little bit. Very good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And, recalling last week, it did feel like those areas did see some pretty good rains in October. Particularly, I know Mount Pulaski, they really got hammered with some strong rain a few weeks ago. I was hearing reports in the 10-inch range for them over there in Mount Pulaski. So I'm sure that had a lot to do with that as well. With November rain showers, Rebekka, do we see severe weather pop up? Like I think back to the Taylorville tornadoes a few years ago. I know Washington about a decade ago. Obviously, that tornado ripped through that community in Woodford County. How about severe weather in November?
We definitely cannot rule it out, especially if we have a warmer than normal month and a significant cold front moving through. This weekend, as of right now, doesn't look like to have anything of that significance, but we do have history of severe weather in November, so we can't rule it out completely.
Yeah, no question. You mentioned we do start the month around 60 degrees, so lends itself to some potentially warmer days, at least at the start of November. So very good. Rebekka, anything on the outlooks for November that's standing out to you we haven't touched on yet?
No, it looks good to me.
Very good. Well, I'll tell you what, let's take a break here. Where do folks go for all things weather data, forecasts, all that good stuff?
They go to us. They come to our website at weather.gov.
Very good. Rebekka, we'll take a break, come back with some more. Again, Rebekka Delaney with the National Weather Service in Lincoln, our guest. More to come with her on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network. Corn and beans starting the day in the red, and wheat slightly higher on this Monday. December corn opening 492 3/4, down 2 3/4. March corn down 2.5, 506.5. May corn 514 1/4, down 2 1/4. November beans underway on this Monday, 1290 1/4, down 12. January beans down 12. 1308 1/4. March beans 1319 1/4, down 11 3/4. December wheat 586 3/4, up 3/4. March wheat up half a penny to start this Monday, 614. May wheat 631, up 1/4. December bean meal 420, 30, that's down 360. And December bean oil, 53.50, up 11 cents. Opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
Looking for Chevrolet inventory? This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. We have the all-new Chevrolet Trax, Blazer, and Trailblazers coming. Plus, several Chevrolet Equinoxes and Traverses are here. This month, take advantage of extra $1,000 trade-in assistance on your trade. There's always a need for quality trades here at Baum's. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
Cooler weather is on the way, and at Love It Once More thrift store in Clinton, we're here to help. We have all our pants and jeans, adults and kids, on sale for 20% off. So come and see us. This is Connie reminding you to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, or doitdailynews.com.
This is Ryan Utterback with Utterback Real Estate. Selling your house on your own can be overwhelming.
Pricing, phone calls, showings, negotiating offers. Did I mention the paperwork and baking all those cookies for open houses?
And that's why you're the other Ryan.
For stress-free selling, click the Utterback Real Estate icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, my guest on the phone today is Rebekka Delaney with the National Weather Service in Lincoln. And Rebekka, fresh off the press, is a new outlook on the winter months. What do we have? What's the outlook telling us?
So the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, they have deemed the U.S. winter outlook a wetter south and warmer north. So for us, that means we're going to see some warmer temperatures and potentially drier conditions.
A little dry heading into the winter. That sounds about on par for what El Nino typically delivers, correct?
Yes, and the National Weather Service and NOAA have deemed this winter a El Nino winter. So this is the first time we have seen El Nino in place in 4 years for winter.
Yeah. Now, did you mention to me off the air it's the first time El Nino's developed in the winter? Am I remembering that right?
It's the first time in 4 years.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So when it comes to the winter outlooks there, Rebekka, you mentioned above normal temperatures forecast. What are some of the normal temperatures for, let's say, December, January, February? What are we looking at for, kind of a reference point there?
Typically, our average temperature for December, January, and February are pretty chilly. 30s, pretty close to 30s.
Okay, sure. So, talk to me a little bit about Rebekka. Other things in the outlooks. You mentioned the precipitation. Let's dive into that a little more. What else is it telling us about precipitation?
It is showing us that the precipitation is going to be. We have an equal chances for normal precip this winter. However, the below normal chances are just to the east of central Illinois.
Okay. So maybe a little more wet over that way. Talk to me a little bit, Rebekka, when it comes to the winter outlooks. Snowfall. Does it dive into snowfall at all?
It does not dive into snowfall. Snowfall is a little less predictable, and it doesn't follow temperature or precipitation trends.
Okay, gotcha. And like you said, snowfall pretty hard to predict. But when it comes to El Nino winters, when it comes and particularly as it relates to like severe weather, whether it be ice storms, winter storms, those sorts of things, what does an El Nino winter typically look like as it relates to those things?
So an El Nino winter for central Illinois, since it typically is a warmer than average season that we would see, ice and sleet and that kind of stuff would be a little less likely just from the warmth of the temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, winter weather is insane. and it does what it wants when it wants.
Very volatile, right?
Yeah.
No question. No question. One thing that stands out to me about those trends is it sounds at least like we're unlikely to see those deep freezes. I can remember several years ago now where we saw a January day where it was, wind chills were 50 degrees below zero. It was treacherous outside. To me, this suggests we're probably not going to see too much of that this year.
Right now, that's what it's looking like.
Very good. Very good. Rebekka, again, anything else on that winter outlook that we haven't touched on that stood out to you in the analysis?
Just that drought is expected to continue easing in the next couple of months.
So that's good news. Very good. So look forward to that. Rebekka, again, as we think about the outlooks here getting into November, December, January, when it comes to just those outlooks in general, how much do they change on whether it's a week-to-week basis, month-to-month basis? How much change could we see with those outlooks?
They issue one main one for the seasonal, and then every week they update the shorter term, like the 8 to 14 or the 6 to 10 day forecast, and that's where you would see most of your little tweaks and changes.
Sure. Very good. Very good. Well, Rebekka, one more time, where do folks go for all things National Weather Service data and the like?
You can go see our website at weather.gov.
Very good. Anything the Weather Service will be talking about, promoting, any awareness things coming up in the next month or two, Rebekka, we should be aware of?
Yes. So our office, our radar is going to be down for the next 2 weeks because it's getting some normal maintenance done to it.
Okay. So what does that do for, knowing, or at least, well, I guess what does that do for your office? What should the public know about how that will impact them?
So our radar will not be available. So if there's ever any precipitation or storms or anything that moves through, we will be using other radars that are surrounding us. So if you want to see the weather that is going on, you'll want to check out Chicago's weather radar or St. Louis's.
Okay, gotcha. Very good. So still ways to keep tabs on all of that. And Rebekka, we appreciate your time here this morning. Thanks for making time for us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Again, Rebekka Delaney with the National Weather Service in Lincoln. Our guest on the phone this morning. Network news on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton 90.